that, I think it was you and him thought a building was burning and you pulled in and it took off. So for years, I closed my eyes at dark there. Years.
Oh, yeah. Well, when I was in high school, we had, across the road was the barn where we kept some of our livestock. So I'd have to go across the road to deal with them. And it was a winter night, and I was walking down the driveway, and I looked and I saw this light over Cousin Paul's farm.
Yes.
And it was pulsing different colors. And your first thought is, well, maybe it must be from the
Northern Lights,
airport.
perhaps.
But there are only green lights that go around.
Yeah.
So I watched this thing, and it started to move like this. All of a sudden, it went across the sky.
Dad had an experience like that too. My wife was
Cicada.
on the west side of town and when she
And then fireballs, I heard, like, Dad would tell me that it's like they're fireballs that would hit, like, the windshields.
Oh,
Yeah.
there was an accident with
Sounds like St. Elmo's fire. You heard that, right?
there was an accident with a trooper. Remember Craig around Warren?
Yes.
One time an unidentified thing hit him
Oh, and there's a
That's it.
museum.
and damaged
Yeah.
his
That's
vehicle.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like yeah.
And it bent it, but
It
it's
did.
on a spring. So how could it bend something that's on a spring unless it hit it so fast? Because it's in the museum. I stopped to look at
Oh,
the
did you?
museum.
Yeah, I heard about that. So for years, I would not open my eyes. If we drove from like Grandma's house to Uncle Dan's house, I kept my eyes closed because I was so afraid of seeing a fireball in the sky. Oh, for
Huh.
years.
Well, as long as you're telling me I'm already damaged, so I'll tell one that Mother experienced. My mother was not permitted to graduate from high school because they said they needed someone at the farm, and if she went her junior year, then the next person would have to stay home. So Mother had packed her suitcase because they lived in town when they were in high school. And she unpacked her suitcase, but the last year she was in town, I think she was a sophomore then, and she and her cousin lived in this house with two elderly, peculiar people. Let's say if they went to a church event, at night, they would open the door as they came and lock the door behind them. So they always, were very careful. And Mother and Irene had bedroom upstairs. So they walked upstairs and they walked past a room and there was a man sitting in a chair. And I don't know if it was like a fireplace was behind him or else, kind of fiery background. And then they went to their room. And then no one lived there except the couple who had ushered them in. But there was this color or the background, like fiery background
Wow.
as they walked by.
I remember watching scary movies with you, and then we'd have to go lock the door, and you were too scared to lock the door. I don't want to go down there.
When I lived in Elbow Lake, there were logs rolling down the hallway.
That
I
was
woke
a
up
scary-
one time while I wasn't asleep, and this image started appearing to me in puzzle piece by puzzle piece by puzzle piece. And I thought, oh my gosh, pretty soon we're going to have a whole being here. And I screamed, and then it disappeared in the same way, puzzle piece by puzzle piece.
Oh man.
And one time, I just can't relive these things. But I'll tell you one more. So we moved to Elk River, and Dave was always involved in sports. He played basketball, and he played softball. And there were many times when he would be gone at night and coming home late because the guys would get together, maybe have drinks or beers or something. And I'd be home alone and I'd hear footsteps coming down the stairs. And I was so afraid I would just run out into the out of doors and calm myself down.
That was in
Well,
Elk River.
Yeah, that
I
was,
felt like that house had things too.
no, this was the one in
Oh.
town.
Oh.
So, no, it wasn't, thank goodness. So I went to visit someone who lived there later on because they had put shutters on the house. And I thought, that looks really cute. We didn't have shutters when we lived there. And I knocked on the door and I said, I stopped by just to tell you this house looks really cute in the exterior. I used to live here. And she said, oh, was it haunted when you lived here too?
Oh, man.
Yeah. No, I stayed in, I stayed upstairs, and I know that you said that's where a lot of that stuff came from. I never sensed anything.
I was there
Whatever.
once, and Dave was leaving.
Yeah, I guess.
Was leaving for something, and I had headaches in those days too, but it was from a different cause. It was food related. And I had one of those hot pads. And I lay on it, and he was going somewhere, and I was gonna shout down goodbye. And I couldn't speak, and then I couldn't get up, and I tried to, and I couldn't get up, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm being electrocuted. So I thought, okay, I'll just muster all my strength and heave myself off the couch, which I did. And there was nothing wrong with the heating pad, but the woman who lived there later said, oh yeah, her mother-in-law or something was there. And she yelled at her, get this boy off of me, he won't get off my back. And so I got to thinking maybe someone was sitting on me, and too, I don't know, but.
I've only felt that once. We were in a house, we had rented it with my aunt, my mom's side, a house up in the mountains. And I was sleeping downstairs, and I kept on feeling that there was somebody watching over me, and I would try to open my eyes, but I didn't want to open it, and I could just sense something. So the next 2 nights I slept upstairs on the couch. I said, I didn't feel that upstairs, but downstairs I did.
But when
And
that
my
lady,
cousin did too. My other cousin felt it too.
but when that lady said, was it haunted?
No.
Yeah, that's scary.
But she had worse experiences than
Oh, I
I
don't want to hear those.
No, I'm not-
I don't know, I felt like Elk River House was haunted. Did
Do
you
you
when you were
remember?
little? No, not haunted, but I felt like I felt things in that basement.
Do you remember when I think we had just moved there before my dad got sick, and we got really scared. We were at your place alone. I think you might have been there, but we went and hid under your parents' bed because they were gone. We heard noises, and you hear
Yeah.
noises.
You know what I do remember though is you had just moved into that house and now then, and it was just you and me, and your mom left or whatever, so it was just you and me, and we were there for a long time, and we decided that we had to make our own food because no one was going to be back for a long time, and like there was just like this box of random groceries, and we made like a weird meal that then we didn't eat because it was so gross.
Oh,
Where Michelle and Jeremy live, they have seen specters actually in their living room.
You saw what?
Specters, ghosts.
Oh.
Spirits.
Okay, so here, honey,
So-
response to your
They're
talk is
probably more
like,
common than